Hello and welcome to Still Uncaptured with me, Kgomotso Matsunyane.
And myself, Ndumiso Ngcobo.
Welcome to the show. You can always get us on Spotify. It drops new episodes drop on Tuesdays at 9 o'clock and on YouTube also at 9 o'clock. And don't forget to interact with us on all the socials. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Twitter at Mutso Matsu.
But of course, on YouTube, you can only get that on Friday. So,
Yes.
If you do not want to wait 3 days, and I don't think you do, 9 o'clock Monday on Spotify. My handle on Twitter is at Ndumiso Ngcobo, and on Facebook, I am Ndumiso Ngcobo, and on TikTok, I'm also at Ndumiso Ngcobo.
Yes, sir. What are you grateful for this morning?
Ooh, what am I grateful for? I'm really grateful that I have a life partner in my wife who, when I need for her to support me in whatever endeavor I decide to embark upon, you and I decided on this show weeks ahead, and we were like, we need to get much better at this. We need to get fitter. We need to get this thing.
Right.
The human body was not designed to
be stagnant.
To stay. We are not sedentary animals,
No,
right?
we're not.
We are animals that need to move
All the time.
You know the same way that if you leave a car in a garage for months,
Yep.
you try and start.
The battery's gonna go, this is gonna go.
So when I decided for myself, and I said, I need this for myself to be healthy, because I certainly do want to live however long I'm going to live. I want it to be a healthy life. The woman that I decided to spend the rest of my life with, Tebogo, said, anything and everything that you need for us to do, I'm going to do it with you. And so now 3 weekends in a row, we get up, man, at 7 in the morning,
Yep.
and we are out there and we are hiking.
No, I'm sure you're gonna be before 7 if you're gonna hike.
No. I mean, it's still been a bit hot.
Okay.
No, a bit cold. It's been a bit cold. So we're going to get up earlier and earlier and so on. Yeah, the last time we got up at 6:30 so that we could be there by 7. But by about 9:30, it didn't help that we got lost. So the hike was
Very frustrating.
The hike was much longer than we anticipated, but I'm so grateful for her that she's with me and she's taking my health that seriously, that she's subjecting herself to the hikes.
Right.
That really more for my benefit. Although, I mean, she also benefits by walking
for
with me.
sure.
And you?
And you get to bond.
And we got to bond and talk.
And talk. And it's a little thing sometimes, I'm grateful that I haven't lost my mind, Ndumiso. I'm watching people, let's just say people, sometimes on social media, sometimes privately, when you know of people's struggles. And there's nothing like watching somebody lose it.
Ish.
Like, when you like, guys, there's something wrong with Ndumiso. Like, I need to call Tebogo and be like, take that phone away from him. Where are you? I'm coming. Do you understand? In the same way that I gave you permission. And I remember when I wrote you that when this was happening, and I said to you, if ever I should act like this in public, where there's something wrong with me, please come, call my brother, and do whatever you have to do to commit me to a facility that will help me.
Because I know that I can call your mother anytime.
Yeah.
I've got her in my numbers. I've got your brother, and I know I can reach you via Momo. But I will be one of the first people that drive. You know this.
I know that.
I would drive and I'd be there. Because there is nothing as scary as watching that happen to someone. Because what I've realized about it is when that is happening to, I've never been there, but you can tell that when this is happening to them, they don't actually quite realize how much they've veered off.
But that's the thing. You don't realize. So you don't realize, like, you've lost your marbles. And you think you're acting rationally, but you're not. So you need a friend who can literally bully you.
Yeah.
Literally. And potentially make a decision for me. To say, you're not okay, and I'm going to take an executive decision with your family. Well, obviously, let my family do it, to make sure that you get the help that you need.
You know, I remember so vividly 6 years ago, we had one of our famous family meetings before the idea of the family meeting was stolen by someone, when we had our family meetings. And I remember we were talking about, what do you fear the most? And I remember saying on air, back then on KFM, and I remember saying that one of my greatest fears is to lose my mind and obviously not being aware that things, have gone wrong. And I remember standing in front of Herron and saying, isn't it a bit too late now? But I get you, because that's also one of my greatest fears.
Yeah.
So that's a very good one. That's a very good thing to be grateful for.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get into the show. We want to talk today about unpopular opinions. We're going to talk a little bit also about ethnic profiling, which Ndumiso suffers from once in a while. Nobody ever accuses me of anything other than being a South African. I was walking in a market, in a marché in Senegal, okay? And ever so often there'd be someone say, South Africa! South Africa! Because the Senegalese, they're tall, they're regal, but they're sort of like, they're rough as South African. And we're also going to be talking about what are some of the things that you've abandoned since you started making money.
Yeah.
From when you think of, I used to make this much and I used to be just fine.
Yeah.
Your tastes change. As your status improves. So we're going to be talking about that.
Flight from poverty.
Flight from poverty, amongst many. So yes, where are we starting again? About unpopular opinions. We have a few unpopular opinions.
Okay.
One of the biggest is that the colonial project was really and is successful. Why did I say was? It is. We're living it. Look at how we're dressed. What language do we mostly speak in?
Yes.
We are so colonized. Do you understand? We know who Kate Middleton is. Who gives a fuck? But we know who she is. We know who she's married to. We know things about that family, and it's almost as if they were still our kings and queens. The colonial project was a little too successful, and I fear that it was so successful as to not be discernible.
And, someone might be listening to this and saying, but what the hell is she talking about? What is she talking about? Everybody knows that colonialism succeeded until you touch them on their studio about just how badly colonialism succeeded. So, for instance, for me, it's one of my, I love this. This is like, I love it. It's one of my favorite things to talk about, which is Black people do not know who they are. Because when people say it's African culture, I call bullshit. All of this nonsense that people are doing in the name of African culture, bullshit. That is all colonial. When you are busy saying, no, when Umakoti comes into the house, they must come and go. Bullshit.
She must wear hair.
She must wear hair. Bullshit.
She mustn't wear pants.
Wearing black because someone has died.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
That is all colonial.
Yeah.
Your surname. Bullshit.
Colonial.
Colonial. What? Until white people came here, and for purposes of registration, we did not even have surnames.
We didn't even need to. We never registered ourselves.
We
were
never registered, right?
Because they wanted our taxes.
We have forgotten everything. The success of the colonial project was in the mind.
There we go.
It is exactly what Steve Biko said. And I do not want to butcher the saying, but basically he did say something to the effect of the greatest power that the colonial has over the black person was being able to take over the mind.
Right.
How we think we can only see life through the prism of colonialism. If you ask the average black person a question that precedes the 6th of April, 1652, Amy Bani.
Right.
We truly do not know who we are.
But let's not act as if this is a surprise.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay? Because this was deliberate.
Yes.
There was architecture
Yes.
behind this. There was anthropology behind this.
Yeah.
There was religion behind this to make sure like we are going to wipe their minds clean. And put something else in here.
Yes.
And the biggest one, wa bona gore e re convince gore like ha ke Jesu Kriste wa lekgowa.
Yeah.
Wa bona, first of all, ke taba ya Jesu Kriste.
Yeah.
Gore ntate o phetse nako ele ka di conditions tse gore o tswetswe ke a virgin, for example. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you know how much you have to suspend reality to believe that a child can be born of a virgin? Do you have any idea how ludicrous that belief is?
Yeah.
Do you know how ridiculous it is that like somebody turned water into wine?
And the question might be someone listening to you and saying, yeah, but what does that have to do with African culture?
Everything. Because our minds, when I say it was deliberate, it was nebankile T-pegs.
Yeah.
Susa loku, susa loku,
faga loku.
Yeah.
This one you must faga. And things that people hold so dear. As in, right now, I guarantee you someone's listening to us right now, they have a daughter who is pregnant and they are going to hambisa isisu so that bazothola ama damage inhlawulo. Bullshit. That is not our indigenous belief system. That was a system that came in through colonialism in order just to stop the squabbles amongst people, because back where we come from, the paternity of children was that paternity regardless of whether there was matrimony. You did not need to be married to someone for a child to bear the name of the father, because do you know what we used to call ourselves, that binomial name? I would have been called Ndumiso Ngcobo, my father's name. Simple and period. That is all, regardless of marital status.
Right.
This nonsense that you are now having to pay inhlawulo because you are having a child out of wedlock. I'm sorry, bullshit. Inhlawulo used to be something very different. It is when paternity was denied.
Right.
And then there was what? Inhlamba. It means, what are you saying about this woman?
You're swearing at us.
You're
basically.
swearing
You're
at this
insulting
woman.
us.
Insulting. This is an insult. You are saying that this child does not have isimilo, right? So all of these things, if you start saying this to people and saying to them, colonial, then they don't understand you. Then they will agree with you at that level where you say, oh, the colonial project succeeded only when you're talking about what we were wearing. But when it comes to your core beliefs, the fact that you do not know who you are, you do not actually know anything about your people and where they come from, that is what we're talking about why this was so successful.
My question is, how do we decolonialize? Particularly, and I'm talking to family, just like with your family. How do you deal with it with your children, right? We're talking about inhlawulo and all of this. How do you take out the white in your family?
It is so easy. Read. And when I say read, here's the fascinating thing. Do you know who has written the true history of who we are? The same white people who brought. It's
Right.
just that they directed us about what to read.
Right.
But if you start reading outside of what has been prescribed
Right.
for you to read, because they know, they understood it, they recorded all of these things, and they actually understand. The more you read, and the more you read, and it's targeted reading. And by the way, there are thousands upon thousands of books that have been written by people like you and I with our skin that have corrected all of this history.
Right.
The problem is that people do not pay attention. So someone like Untate Matola Mutshekga, he writes about these things, and he's not by any stretch of the imagination, and he's never claimed to be the definitive authority on this.
Right.
But perhaps that is a very good start to read about your real and your true history and where we come from, and where you actually even understand why there is such an absurdity about a blue-eyed blonde Jesus who looks more Swedish than anything else, who lived in what is today's Middle East. So where did this man come from that looks
with these
sweet
features? Right.
Because you then start to understand our history and how it is that our history was done to it. So is that the one unpopular opinion that you want to talk about?
Yes, because I think it should be something that we interrogate every day. I ask you the question, doesn't necessarily mean I have the answer, right?
Yeah.
Because we're living in the world that we're living in. We've got technology, we've got this, we've got that and the other. I just want people to question what they believe in.
Yes.
I'm surrounded by people who are rabid Christians.
Yes.
Up to a point where it's a bit crazy.
Yes.
It's just a little bit like, you're not being reasonable.
Yes.
Like you can't touch them because everything is like in the spirit, and it's a little scary when I see it's like, I don't know if belief should be something like that, because when I was being interviewed by some radio station last night and about the Johannesburg Feminist Library. And I said, you cannot write if you do not read.
Yes.
You cannot.
It's impossible.
And I also said, and I also urge you, please read people who you do not necessarily agree with, because that's the only way we grow. Particularly. As we go to the Bible to reinforce everything that we've already believed in.
I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give a shout out, and I'm going to, there are certain, because when you talk about Christianity, particularly someone like me, some of the people and this is what racists like to do, say, I cannot be racist, some of my best friends are black, right? But some of my best friends are people who are Christian. Some of the people that I enjoy interculating with, that I like to talk to, right, about these things. And I'm going to name them by name. There's a friend of mine that I went to high school with, Vezinhlanhla Mngcango. He is a Christian, but one of the most enlightened Christians, because he allows you to question Christianity. He himself...
Without becoming defensive.
No, and not only, he doesn't need to be defensive, but because he's also one of the greatest critics of Christianity, because he has got a brilliant mind and he thinks about Christianity.
Right.
He critiques Christianity.
Right.
So the fact that he believes in Christianity does not preclude him from saying, not his words, not my words, to be able to say, bullshit, that is bullshit. He'll even say things like, Jesus Christ would never agree with this, and very popular things, amongst Christianity. Another friend, Figile Tsigelelo Moya, another Christian whose mind, he sprays his brain, and I can have a conversation with him about Christianity without it necessarily being a fight. But more than anything else, my own brother that I started out the show with, Father Reverend Ndumiso Ngcobo, a Catholic priest, that I can say anything to about Christianity, and he will receive it in the spirit in which I say it. So it does not mean that just because we're not talking, there's different brands of Christians.
Absolutely.
But when it comes there's a particular brand of Christianity. You know, the brand with the 10% tithes every... no shame, Bandla.
Because the thing is with this decolonial thing is that for as long as black people think Jesus Christ is white, we're always going to hold white people above us.
Yeah.
That's... As long as... Do you understand? Put it like, part of why we love white people so much. And we do. They don't sound like it, but we do. We love white people in this country.
This is why it's so ridiculous when you hear about white genocide. I'm like, black people love white people too much.
Black people would probably defend them with their own bodies if somebody tried to genocide
There's
them.
no way. They cannot be white genocide.
Impossible.
It's impossible. It's impossible. And so on. But we were saying we were going to be talking about unpopular opinions. And this was a very serious one. I'm going to leave you with one that I know.
Give me one.
There's one that I know I'm going to be murdered for this.
Okay.
South Africans, number one, do not love football. You know this game called soccer?
Right.
Football? No, they don't. Do you know what they love?
What do they love?
They love Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. That is the extent. Without
Not even Sundowns?
No, it's wow. Have you seen the hatred towards Sundowns? And do you know why? Because Sundowns is the very best football team in the history of South African football. I said it. The most successful, the best team, and I don't even support Sundowns. You know how I started supporting Kaizer Chiefs from 1979 until I just decided, following South African football, what's the point? And I stopped in 2015 after we were being told that, shut up, this is a family business. So I decided, if it's a family business, I'm going to be out of it. But South Africans do not know football, do not like. I think let's stick to rugby. Yeah. I think let's stick to cricket. We do not understand and we do not know football. Only thing we know is
Dorito. So
I said it. So you can leave your comment.
And you said it with your chest.
Yeah.
I have one unpopular opinion for you.
Yes.
There isn't a single good politician in South Africa.
How, Kgomotso? How? Bakhona musi nje na.
Name him.
Bakhona abo.
Name them. Either they're wearing red overalls and wearing 9,000 rand shoes and 200,000 rand watches.
You decided to go for the berets, okay?
Well, excuse me, exophated, because now they're saying I'm only going for the berets. All of them.
There's the good party with Patricia de Lille. Is she not a good politician?
I think all politicians want one thing: power. I don't think they care. I don't think there's anybody in parliament right now that I believe is there because they believe they're going to fight for the rights of the poor people. They're going to fight this. I just don't buy it. I just think being a politician in this country is one of the surefire and easiest ways to make millions out of tax rent.
And okay.
Tax rent.
I was just trying to play devil's advocate because I was going to throw a number of names at you and say, how Shane Bagiti, how Usongezo, is he not a good
bless him.
Is he not a good politician?
He's a nice enough guy, but I'm wondering what's the end game. I don't trust any of them. Why would Songezo, who had a prolific career in media, right, all of a sudden decide to write a manifesto and go run for office?
Yes.
He cares that much about the country, or does he have a bigger picture of this is how I see my career and this would be a good edge to it?
Here's a challenge, and this is a challenge to our producer, to find a clip that I saw of one Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Gayton Mackenzie, speaking to some reporter. And I remember seeing this where he says, in his own words, he says, the only reason that I am in politics is for power. He said it. He's like, I'm in politics for power. He said, is there anyone? He said, you guys are just used to politicians who lie to you. Me, Gayton, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm in this game for power. And I don't think he was saying it with tongue in cheek.
No, we don't want you. You are here for positions. Yes, people want positions. People want power. I'm in politics for power. You are too used to politicians that lie to you. I'm in politics for power. Make no mistake. I'm here for power. Unashamedly, power. That's why I'm here.
And I am saying this because there has been for a long time, particularly in our media, print and so on, where media has been played almost sometimes against each other by particularly the governing party, where we were almost being convinced that there is a good ANC and a bad ANC.
Right.
And I have said consistently for years, it's like there is no such thing as the good ANC as the bad ANC.
There's only one ANC.
There's only one ANC.
Right.
And so I have to be in support of you. Is like, quite honestly, some politicians may do better than others insofar as, taking care of certain things and taking care of white suburbs in the Western Cape, but all on the whole, politicians are just there for themselves.
Yeah. So we mustn't think that they're there to save us, which will make next year's elections very interesting, 2026.
Which is why you must record this and take and look it up.
Yeah.
Should you ever hear of Ndumiso Ngcobo deciding to start a political party, I am saying it now. It'll be because I am looking out for my family. I am looking out. I'm there for me.
Okay, let me ask this though.
Yeah.
It's one thing to start a political party, but could you potentially be convinced to join?
I wouldn't be able. No. Oh, that would never happen.
In this landscape we have right now.
Not the parties that exist right now. There would have to be, I do not know what party there would have to be for me to actually go and join.
Something that Parliament just refuses to do.
Yes.
And it's very simple. And I don't think it would take much.
Right.
Lifestyle audits. Would it kill you, politician?
Okay.
Would it kill you?
Can I give you a prediction?
Give me a prediction.
That if someone were to stand up in Parliament and say, everyone before they get sworn into a new Parliament
must do a lifestyle
audit. The motion, there are 400 members of the national. The motion would be probably defeated by about 493 to nothing, and the 3 will be abstentions. Nobody
wants it.
No one wants that.
If you were to do a lifestyle audit, Ndumiso.
Yeah. A lifestyle audit. A lifestyle audit done by an independent auditing firm that is not, who above. The dicey ones. I'm just afraid of saying that. But yeah, anyway, an audit
the dodgy
firm,
ones.
No, not the
That's
dodgy
how captured we are.
Yeah, but if that were to happen, I am sorry. I don't think any politician would want a lifestyle audit.
Anyway, on that depressing note, when we come back, we're going to talk about ethnic profiling. Okay, so I went to get my hair done today.
Hello.
Yeah.
I saw that. Complete with lines.
Complete with lines and everything. And so you've said to me that I don't have boyoyo.
You don't.
I don't, right?
No, you don't have ngegela, man. Like
boyoyo is the thing. But is it a South African?
I don't even. No, it's not South African. I've seen.
Why do we expect everyone to have a boyoyo then?
Because I think that the overwhelming majority of Black South Africans have some form of
something back there.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to sound like the Germans. I mean, they were like measuring people's skulls and all that kind of stuff.
But how is it different from? How different are we from the Germans when we do the same thing?
Let's talk about that.
Because one of the ways we are so obsessed in this country, I'm not going to use big words, but Black people in this country, we are very obsessed with looking at profiling people and deciding, are they natural born South Africans or are they immigrants?
To be specific, Black people, right?
Very specific, black people. And so even when you meet someone, like people would just get really, really interested and be like, do you think, is he South African? Black people, we are obsessed with this. We are interested in the othering of people,
right,
based on their looks, right. So, for instance, black people, black South Africans, when they look at certain people, they can tell. And some people, it's very obvious. Certain Nigerians look so archetypically Nigerian that you don't have to ask.
Right.
Like you can just tell, okay, this person is Nigerian. But is it true? So, for instance, a friend of mine, I know you won't mind me saying this. He has been ethnically profiled as Nigerian, even though he's not. Maswazi. Many times. He's dark.
Right.
He's really tall.
Right.
Like he's about 6'2" or so or whatever.
Right.
Right. And also no poyoyo as well. He also had a scare the one time. He was on what is now the Winnie Mandela Drive, where some people went to him because they thought he was some Nigerian guy, because I suppose he looked like some Nigerian guy. But this has happened to me. So I'm going to look into that camera and then give people my side profile. See, no poyoyo. No.
But it's a problem.
It's a problem for me now. Because 3 times in my life, I have been profiled as a Congolese. And what's interesting is I've also been profiled as a Congolese by Congolese people. I went to the street, I just go and just get my hair done anywhere I feel like having it done. Springstown. And the Congolese barbers there were like, my brother, are you sure? Like, you are safe with us. Are you sure? Are you not Congolese? I'm like, no, I'm not Congolese.
I'm Zulu.
I'm very Zulu, right? But the first time I was ethnically profiled was 1994. And I used to think it was an urban legend. It's not. I was stopped by the cops coming out of Mayfair train station. Coming out of there, and I'd had my hair cut, the German cut and whatever. And these police, the coppers were like, no.
Hello, my friend.
My friend. Come hither. What is this? I used to think, they were like, what is this? And I, like, in the line. And they're like, I remember. And it just so happened that I did have my green ID book with me. And I took it out and they said, hey man, don't do that haircut. I'm like, but what is it? And they're like, no man, the shape of your head. Yeah, you look like you're Congolese. The show that we did here with Tessa Dooms, remember talking about colored identity? Do you remember that you were talking about the pinch test?
Right.
Echu
versus Aina.
Versus Aina.
Right.
When I came from this studio in Rosebank and I was driving home, I got stopped by the cops. Again, because I'm driving, they're next to me. I suppose they're seeing my side profile and they look at me. And so this guy rolls down his window and he says to me, and I roll down my window, and then he goes, so, Ada, Dinchang. I'm like, huh? He's like, Dinchang, no, get sharp. Like how slang. And he's like, and I'm wearing my thing, but I responded in English. So then they followed me, and then when I turned, they stopped, looking through my car. I said, what are you looking for? Do you have papers? I'm like, Evanna, in my broken now it's one. No, blah, 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 blah. Because I didn't even want to speak isiZulu, because if I speak isiZulu, it could be Sindebele from Zim. But I was profiled as a Congolese. And I remember feeling so helpless.
How did you feel?
Helpless. Like I'm just, is this what people go through on a daily basis?
See, this is the problem with Operation Dudula. It's all fine and well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're fighting for South Africans. Okay, I'll take it. I think you're full of it. But I'll take it that you're trying to fight for South Africans to get better treatment and all of that. But Operation Dudula will never ask a white person or a Chinese person to show them their papers.
No.
Never.
No.
So we're only dealing with black people asking other black people for IPAS.
Yes.
Basically.
Yeah.
So when we say the colonial project has succeeded, this is what we're talking about.
You know, General Mkhwanazi made a very good point during his one of his presses, and he was talking about our borders. And it made me realize, this man has actually read his history when he said, remember that these borders, they simply just decided to put a fence in the middle of communities.
Yeah.
This side, kukhulunywa isiSwati, ngapha kukhulunywa isiSwati.
Right.
This side, Botswana, ngapha Botswana. The same way, if you go to our border with Zimbabwe, there are natural born Xhosa speaking Zimbabweans that side and Venda speaking and so forth, right? But that's neither here nor there, because if ever there's one thing where a lot of people like to hate on him, or CIC, where EFF, if there's one thing where I agree with him, is when he says, South Africans, let's be very careful about this fight against foreigners. This is where I will look into the camera and say, this is where I agree with CIC Julius Malema, where he is even willing to forsake votes for the principle.
That is brave.
That
is really brave. Yes.
And
because it's a very unpopular opinion.
And I want to give him his flowers to say it's a very unpopular opinion. And he's right. And what people don't seem to the thing about it is people listen selectively. No one is saying that undocumented foreigners we do not want should be allowed to just run amok in this country.
Right.
But that is not an issue that is not their issue of the undocumented foreigners. That is our Department of Home Affairs. That's a DHA issue.
Yep.
That is a South African Police Services
That's a border issue.
That's a border issue. That has got nothing to do with the poor people who can see over the fence that, hey, over there, no, things are nice, are better. Their health system, by their own admission, is all but non-existent.
It is non-existent. Yep.
If there is a hole in the fence, what do you think poor people are going to do?
Right.
So that is not the issue. The issue is not because these people are evil. They are here to. They are undocumented immigrants and foreigners. Because who allows it to happen?
But then we complain they're undocumented, but then we don't give them the opportunity to document.
No, because
right?
Why would you give them documents if when at the end of the month there's an extra 4,000 rand you are making out of bribes for undocumented?
Yeah.
Can we just be honest?
The economy of it, eh?
The economy of it.
Of undocumented workers. Some people are benefiting a lot.
Are eating.
Yeah.
Right? And unfortunately, that is the issue. But you are also, and I agree with you, that the issue here is, there are certain suburbs here in South Africa. If you were to go and look for papers at Bedford View, how many papers would you find at Bedford View?
And I think this thing of not documenting people creates a bigger problem because we don't know who they are. We don't know who's coming and going.
Yes.
So the crime rate, it makes sense. So I agree with Operation Dudula. So my mom goes to Rosettenville Clinic.
Yes.
First of all, we get there and the Dudula people tried to ask for I was like,
Did you?
No, who the fuck are you?
Are we back in the past laws?
Yes.
I must carry my
You know what I mean?
I
just like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, it was like, clinic. First of all, it was about 1:00 on a Friday, and the clinic was closed.
Yeah.
Normally, this is a clinic that has people outside in a long line. We walked in there was nobody. So I'm also wondering, where's the South Africans?
Yeah.
And that's when I realized the extent that we actually cannot afford in our health system to carry this burden because it is heavy.
It's a lot.
Because
all the places, all the healthcare facilities where these people, because there's another one that is not Dudula, that's in Durban, I think March upon March, I don't pay too much attention, where like hospitals like Eddington hospitals, all of a sudden now you get there, Ushayu Moya.
And you can get an appointment, there's like service, there's no lines. It was incredible. And I thought, oh my goodness, is this what an NHI experience could possibly be?
Yes.
Potentially. It was shocking how much of a burden the South African health system actually carries because of undocumented people.
Yes.
Just saying.
Yeah, no, it's actually very true. And the thing about it is that, unfortunately, this adage, 2 wrongs don't make a right. You cannot at the same time be behaving outside of the parameters of the law simply because the law is not doing. Fix your law. Fix your. Why is it so much easier to do this against other black people purely because they are black? When all you need to fix is to fix your systems. Fix your Department of Home Affairs, fix your borders, fix your policing.
And I think we need to have a conversation with Zimbabwe. We have the most number of Zimbabweans, right, in South Africa, probably outside of Zimbabwe.
What conversation are we going to have with them?
Pay for your people. If we treat somebody who's Zimbabwean, your government's got to pay for it.
Do you think that the Zimbabweans would ever?
What do you mean that the Zimbabwean government?
Do you think that? The reason,
I think it's a start.
But the reason that they don't have much of a health system is because they just do not have the money to take care of the people. Clear and simple. Yeah, I mean, there are so many people that owe me money, but I look at them and I go, yeah, what would be the point of asking them for money?
Because you're not going to get it.
Yeah. Maybe what you want is you want a series of IOUs. IOUs.
Maybe.
But
I think like that's a conversation that should be taking place diplomatically. And certainly if we haven't started it before, I think we should start intermediate. What pressures? I never understood why we never put more political pressure on Zimbabwe to do the right thing. We ratified their fucked up elections that were clearly not clean and fair and all those other stuff. Do you understand?
Yeah.
We as South Africa, we're just like, yeah, well.
So here's my other question. In the absence of documentation, where are you getting your information from that these are Zimbabweans that are giving?
It's an assumption.
Aha.
I said most.
Exactly.
I said most,
exactly.
Right? So because I know that is the largest, from what I know, the largest number of undocumented immigrants allegedly are from Zimbabwe.
And the largest number based on not documenting.
No.
Do you realize what you're saying? How would you know if they're undocumented? So what I'm saying, and the point there is not to ridicule you, the point I'm making there is the importance of systems. And ultimately it goes back to us. You cannot run government effectively without data. Data, and there is your stats as shining. It's sitting there churning out stats. Are we making data-based decisions?
No.
So why would you want to go to Zimbabwe? Because Zimbabwe is going to say, produce me a list of these undocumented Zimbabwe. They are undocumented, so you cannot have a list.
Well, I mean, if people are signing up at the hospital, they give you the name, they give you the background and all of that kind of stuff. And you get to know where people are from. So one of the datas could potentially be from there.
Yeah? But I hear you.
And I hear you, my brother. I hear you. Let's take a little break before we wrap up. Welcome back to Still Uncaptured. I want to now talk about the things that you abandoned as you became more and more upwardly mobile.
As you became more affluent.
As you become more affluent.
Your affluence started making you
basically.
go...
Basically. Putting a nose up on people, like, like, for example, like after freedom.
Freedom.
People would be just sort of like, woo! You know what I mean? Like people who moved to the suburbs were so determined to remind those who were still in the township. Suburbs, But anyway, that's not us. We're talking about us. What did we change?
I remember even back then, I mean, even just before freedom, like in the 90s, when black people started living in flats, in gray areas. In gray areas in town,
Run by the PFP, Progressive Federal Party.
And in Durban, it was like the Point area. And then what is that place? I remember someone Jeff was trying to remember this place, but it's there by St. George's. I'll remember what park it is, but there by Russell Street in Durban. But in any case, those people that lived in town, one of the ways that you wanted to show other black people that you were not from the township is you would just go out to the nearest 7-Eleven wearing a gown. And just so people can see, but you did not. I want to mail a taxi when to come here. You are walking around. So you'd be like in your shorts and your vest. Because remember back then, Mom, to leave the township to go to town.
Right.
Was a serious thing.
Yes.
You had to wear. So when you live in town, you just, that woman would do a makota and just go. So you're talking about that.
Well, that's kind of attitude,
that
you
kind
know,
of
just to sort of
attitude,
like as you are moving up in the world, we're moving on up like the Jeffersons. What are some of the things that you abandoned?
So I don't know whether it is. This is let me just say it coincided with me. Can I just tell you something about my house? Mm-hmm. My house, for the first, I would say, 12 years of my life, there was never any cooked lunch at my house, with the exception of Sunday.
Okay.
And during the week and on Saturday, every single day of my life, I had uphutu namasi, inkomas. And as soon as I had to make my own decisions,
right.
I have not eaten amasi in over 30 years.
I don't mind amasi.
I cannot. I cannot stand it. Yeah, amasi for me, and I know I'm going to irritate. I'm going to get so much hate mail for this. Amasi angnueli poverty. Anugi apartheid. Ngizwa kunugi tear gas. Mangbona amasi ngboni tear gas ngbona amayipo. Ngithi yo. I remember eating amasi and who put you, and then like you go and you go thinking the amasi, and then the put is sitting here, and I'm like, as soon as I get money, I am not going to eat this shit. I hate inkomas, and I know my wife loves inkomas. Even my children who are born freeze, they love it. I will not eat. If I come to your house, please don't
I
even
won't serve you amasi, but then I wouldn't serve amasi. I mean, come on, it's something I eat privately. You know what I mean?
And yourself? What? Come on. What? No,
there's nothing that I don't eat. Because me, I like poverty food.
Yeah.
Give me manqina.
I love a manqina.
You know what I mean? Like amala mohodu, like ulusu.
I like it.
You know what I mean?
I
like with ting. I love you. I could just eat that, you know. So I don't have kind of like that
Me,
issue.
when people talk about, for instance, cabbage as a meal, but in January, Mina, in any given week, I will have cabbage at least 2 or 3 times. I love cabbage.
Cabbage is nice.
I love cabbage.
So it's not so much food. It is things.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like things. Like cleaning my own house. I'll be damned.
You don't clean. You don't like to do housework. You know, it's amazing how different we are. I love nothing more. I love nothing more than to shift the bed. You know, you're talking gardening now.
Gardening is awesome.
Even when my friends were making extra cash, garden weekend with being garden boys in white people's. Gardening, that's not for.
Interesting.
I always say, so these hands, look at these hands. Look at how soft these hands. These hands were designed to deal with manual labor only at a supervisory level. I don't do. Yeah. But cleaning the house, mopping in the house, no, I don't mind. Shame.
Yeah.
I don't mind. You hate that.
I don't. Like I've everywhere that I've moved, for example, I will never move into a place without having a washing machine. And a dryer.
And a dryer.
And a dryer.
And I get it.
I will never. Put it like everywhere. There is always a washing machine.
Yes.
Always. Washing it.
Yeah.
Nah. Oh, hell no.
You and my wife like this.
No. There's just things that I feel like I think my energies could be better expended somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think my talents are better somewhere else. And I don't like it. And thankfully, I've been able to afford a little bit
Yes.
to pay somebody to do it for me.
You and my wife are peas in a pod about that. And I'll add one thing for her. We've always had a dishwasher.
Oh, really? A dishwasher.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so there's always got to be
Yep.
like a laundry
Yep.
machine, and there's always got to be, because she just, why are we washing? Why?
Yeah. But I think some of the things that people might mention, for example, or things that I've observed.
Yes.
And it's not necessarily a good thing, especially when you say, like, who are we? And this thing, we only learned this later. But we shouldn't have done this.
Yes.
But we left the townships and then we only started speaking to our children in English because we thought we were giving them an advantage.
Yes.
That was some bullshit.
Yeah.
That was some bullshit.
And listen, guilty, although.
Guilty with my brother's kids as well.
Guilty, but for me, my wife and I actually, we really tried. We were very aware, we were very conscious of it, that our children would speak isiZulu. Here's the problem. My Sesotho sucks. It is not nearly enough to have a really good conversation.
So why don't you speak to them in Zulu?
No. I'm talking about my wife.
Okay.
So between the two of us.
All right.
So, and her Zulu is not nearly adequate for us to have the
Not
kind
proficient.
the kind of conversations you need to have as husband and wife.
Right.
Do you know what that means?
What does that mean?
We speak to each other mostly in English because we met at work as well.
Right.
And we were speaking English.
Right.
So then with Uvumezita in particular, I would speak to him in isiZulu. Tebogo would speak to him in Setswana Sepedi.
Right.
And up until the age of 3, he actually was getting it. So I remember this one time we were busy talking and he was getting irritated that we're not paying attention. You know, he ended up saying, Baba, hlala phansi. Mama, dula phansi. Like, do you know what happened?
Right.
He went to crash. He went to kindergarten. But also, this child is now confused. He's speaking English the whole day. Baba and Mama are speaking to each other in the same language that is spoken at crash. But now they want to speak to me in different languages. And I suppose you are coming from work. It's not the number one thing on your mind.
Get it.
And so
I just think like it's something we have to watch out for.
But it's
because
bad.
The erasure of language, it's erasure of you. It's terrible, and I have a friend and here's what the other thing why writing is a part of it as well. Because my friends Jonji and Marcus in Cape Town have a boy Maru who's about 7 or 8. And Marcus is Dutch. So he only speaks to Maru in Dutch.
Yes.
Jonji only used to speak to Maru in Zulu.
Yes.
And Maru at some point was trilingual. And at school he would speak English. Like it was the most impressive thing. Umara Kgomotso Zulu, and then turn around and speak Dutch and be like, oh my God, so this is possible.
Yeah.
And then Maru stopped speaking isiZulu. Why? Because he wasn't getting reading material the same way. Dutch books, they're all over the shelves. He ran out of reading material in Zulu, and then he ran out of people to speak to in Zulu besides his mom. And then also there's a cool factor, don't forget. It was also cool for the kids not to speak Setswana. You know, in the township, hey, come here. You know, you'd be like, why are we speaking English?
So that when we even take the kids to the township, so okay, go visit Ukoko and do you know what ends up happening? All the kids in the neighborhood start speaking to them in English.
Yes.
What language does Gogo speak to them in? English.
In English.
Yes. Umkhulu speaks to them in English. And he was like, well, where are they going to learn their languages if no one speaks to them in the...
And language is important. We talk about
so...
decolonizing. And that's why I laugh at us, because I'm more proficient in English than I am in isiZulu. You're different. I mean, excuse me, in Setswana.
Yeah.
My Zulu sucks.
Yeah.
Okay? It's really bad.
It's not as bad as you make it out to be, but
Okay, but my family make me feel like it's the worst Zulu they've ever heard in my life. Ha!
You and I have had conversations in isiZulu, and I was like, no,
it's not bad.
I know what you're
terrible.
saying. Yeah,
Thank you.
Cool,
That's what I also say. It's like,
Yeah.
You know, so that language when we remember.
But your point is that you are more proficient in English than you
I
are
am in Setswana.
in Setswana. And that's a problem.
It's a serious problem because every time, like even doing an interview, go Motsweding FM, would be a problem. Do you understand? Because the conjugation or what's the Setswana word for this?
Yeah.
I stopped doing Setswana because then at 8.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And I was also, thank God I don't have to do vernac.
It is not the most popular thing to say, except that it is true. And this is where those of us who grew up in KZN also have to be quite grateful to Inkosi Imangosuthu Buthelezi, because he was up. So isiZulu, he pushed it.
Yes.
The reason that we still in isiZulu have got publications, not one, newspapers
Right.
that are read by millions
Right.
still today in
Right.
isiZulu. Where is the Setswana newspapers that are read by widely and so on?
newspaper?
So one of the things that he was obsessed with it was us speaking isiZulu. Yes, it came with other things as well. It came with that whole Zulu chauvinism as well, which is a negative thing. However, especially for my generation, I speak definitely better isiZulu than I speak English. And I'm really proficient in English. But isiZulu ngiyasazi.
Right.
Which is why when I'll put up something on Facebook in English, you look at the comments, people are just generally will just start going off isiZulu, which irritates a lot of my other friends who don't understand isiZulu. But isiZulu is a language that I can still say, this language is still very much alive, even though it is getting eroded.
Right.
But it's still very much alive. And I'm grateful that I am part of a language group that still is so strong. Yeah.
I need more of that. There was some talk at some point about a Setswana one, because language is about practice.
It's about practice.
Yeah? You don't use it, you lose it.
Do you actually realize, Kgomotso, how much English is around you in this?
I do.
Every billboard, every single thing, all the music that we listen to, all the popular, all the TV we watch.
Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
Access to the good things
is
in English.
Is in English.
Yeah.
Yo.
Even the quality you wonder.
Yes.
If it would ever be the same. So this decolonial project is quite a thing, because erasing your language is shooting yourself in the head.
It's dying. It means that as a people, we are dying.
Yeah.
And for me, as someone who is invested in history and writing, the death of information is a calamity that you will never. And I just imagine that when we were having a conversation in another episode, and we were talking about orphans. You know, there is like a Zulu saying, intandane enhle ngumakhothwa ngunina. And as much as my children understand isiZulu, but that nuance, that intandane enhle ngumakhothwa ngunina, is something that I worry that in 50 years, because maybe isiZulu will die slower than other languages, but it bothers me that at some point people will forget those particular sayings, and it's a tragedy. And it's a serious tragedy.
And also in the same way that I think if people don't also think the languages are worth saving, well, then let them be obsolete. Many languages have come and gone.
The number of people, I remember being so obsessed with this that I actually went and I looked up at the number of people in the Eastern Cape writing isiXhosa as a first language in metric. The numbers were appalling. And even in KwaZulu-Natal, that number is dwindling.
It's diminishing.
By the year.
Because we see less value.
Because I did isiZulu first language. That was my first language. Higher grade isiZulu first language. And I can tell you now, people, isiZulu is a difficult language. I'm not going to lie to you. Because if you actually know the isiZulu, you know, the real isiZulu A that I studied, where I studied in Ngolobane, it was those books, that was very serious isiZulu, and it will be a tragedy the day it dies.
Well, let's have the conversation ongoing. You know, I'm curious. What do you do with your children? What do you think of what we've just said about language? We just said a whole bunch of things. Do you think it's worth it to save Setswana, isiZulu, isiXhosa? What are we going to do about our languages? When was the last time, and if you think we must save them, when was the last time you read a Setswana book?
Because they
When was
exist.
the last time? Because they are there.
They exist.
Do you know phenomenal poet and writer Nkosazana Xaba
Yes.
has translated The Wretched of the Earth, Ben Okri,
Yes.
into Sizulu?
Wow.
That's what Zulus are doing.
Yeah.
Into isiZulu, which is incredible.
I will say this for Sol Plaatje University, particularly, how can I forget my friend's name? Good Lord, this is what happens when you are
get
busy
old.
recording. But he knows himself. There is a sleuth of Setswana writing that is coming out of that university.
Yeah, it's true.
And I am loving it. I love the fact that people are now being very cognizant of the fact that you dare not allow these languages to die.
Right.
They can't.
Yeah. But then we can't just say it's somebody else's job. It's my
us.
job, it's your job, and it's also your job, Wena Ekaya. Please don't forget to interact with us on the socials. Anything else?
No.
No.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
You could have used this time for anything else, but you decided to listen to these two loudmouths, in this particular one, making all kinds of excuses for why his children don't speak isiZulu up to scratch. And let me know if you think I'm a follower, but your excuses are flimsy. But that is episode, and this was episode
31.
31.
Yes.
If this were days, this would be a month.
It would be a month.
This is something to celebrate.
It is something to celebrate. And here's to many more. Don't go away. We will see you next week.
Remember to always be grateful. Gratitude.
Yes.
Remember to be grateful.